When running a business, your employees can create all kinds of interesting situations, like getting complaints because someone on the team always smells horrible. You better talk to Bambi. Or someone isn't showing up when they're supposed to. Talk to Bambi. Or an employer reports a serious issue, like sexual harassment, and you're not sure if you have a documented policy. You really need to talk to Bambi. With Bambi, get access to your own dedicated HR manager starting at just $99 per month. They're available by phone, email, and real-time chat, so onboarding and terminations run smoothly, team members reach peak performance, and your business stays compliant with changing HR regulations. And with Bambi's HR Autopilot, you'll automate important HR practices like setting policies, training, and feedback. HR managers can easily cost $80,000 a year, but Bambi starts at $99 per month. Schedule your free conversation today to see how much Bambi can take off your plate. Visit Bambi.com/assistant right now. Spelled BAMBEE.com/assistant. Bambi.com/assistant.
Mary redeemed a $50,000 cash prize playing Chumba Casino online.
I was only playing for fun, so winning was a dream come true.
Chumba Casino is America's favorite free online social casino. You too could have the chance to win life-changing cash prizes. Absolutely anybody could be like Mary. Be like Mary. Log on to ChumbaCasino.com and play for free now. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus terms and conditions apply. See website for details. The voice in the preceding commercial was not the actual voice of the winner.
Welcome to the Unscripted podcast. My name's Corby LaCroix, and the song you're hearing right now is called Great and Mighty One, available on Spotify, iTunes, or wherever you get your music. But for now, recording from the Unscripted studio in Old Hilliard, here's your host and my friend, Aaron Conrad.
Great Redeemer, God of grace.
What an honor today. Honestly, what an honor. Corby, thank you for the introduction and audio as always. For those of you on video, executive editor of Guidepost Magazine, former executive editor of Guidepost Magazine. What an honor for me. Why don't you introduce yourself and we'll go from there.
Hi, I'm Rick Hamlin. I'm here in New York City where it's cold today, but otherwise.
That's right. Where are you? Where are you located?
Way uptown near the George Washington Bridge, 183rd Street. So I looked down on the Hudson River, and I just went for a little run this morning, so my cheeks should be nice and pink.
There you go. That is awesome. So you're in New York, right?
Yeah, Manhattan.
Okay. So I'm in Columbus, Ohio, and it's I think 22 degrees. So we're living through that. We're living through it. We're getting through it, right?
It makes me think of the song, why, oh, why, oh, why, oh, why did I ever leave Ohio? Why?
There you go. Were you in Ohio at some point?
Oh, I've been there. Yeah, it's beautiful. Okay. I love it.
Yeah, it's what it is. It's what it is. All right. I am so honored. Literally, our good friend of ours, a joint friend of ours, connected us, and I've been so looking forward to this. You have a brand new book, and before we get to the brand new book, you have other books. You have other things you've done. Why don't you just tell your story, and we'll get into the book.
My feeling is if God gives you a book, you write it. And then what happens to it afterwards? I've got books that, are in file cabinets, and I have books that got released. But 10 Prayers You Can't Live Without. One of the first books I did was Finding God on the A Train, because I live near the subway train, the A Train. Right. I can't, I don't, Pray for Me. That was probably my most recent book. And now Even Silence is Praise.
So let's start with A Train, because I'm very curious about that. Let's just talk about that one, because I don't want to ever dismiss work, and at the end of the day, it's our palette, it's what we've done, it's our resume. Let's talk about the A Train book.
That's so interesting because it really connects with this latest book. I mean, that book, 25 years ago, I think it was. But my subway commute was the A Train, and I discovered, my kids were young, that was my prayer time. I use the place that I'm traveling, my commute. And people say, well, how do you do that? How do you pray in a train? But when you choose a place to be your prayer place, but it works. It's sort of the signals, the auditory signals, the train rumbling. Oh, okay. Okay, God, I'm here.
Right. Well, I used to when I lived in Cleveland, Ohio, back in the 216, I used to live in Bedford, and I took the bus every day downtown, and we could read the paper. You could listen to, back in those days, it was a Walkman. It wasn't MP3.
Oh, yeah.
But either way, you could do something with your half hour. Is that what you found on the A train? Was you decided to pray?
Yeah, usually, I'd read a psalm or a couple psalms until I got to 125th Street, and 125th Street close out and be silent. And one of the things you have to always do is be aware, there's, an older person, well, it could be me now, but, get up, give the seat. A pregnant woman, get up, give the seat, and you kind of get signals for that. But otherwise, I could close my eyes. I usually did get a seat. I usually still do get a seat. But yeah, you check in and check out at the same time.
Right. Well, utilizing time. I mean, we all are given the same amount of time every day. It doesn't matter who you are, whether you're the richest man in the world, the poorest man in the world, you're given the same amount of time every day. And what we do with that time, I think, is incredibly important, whether it's running on a treadmill, whether it's, praying, whether it's devotions, whether it's business, QuickBooks, whatever it might be. We're all given the same amount of time every day. And what do we do with that time, I think, is incredibly important. So I'm very interested to read that book as well. I really am.
Do you remember that wonderful line from John Wooden, Coach Wooden, make each day your masterpiece?
Right. I think Casting Crowns, the Christian band Casting Crowns, has a line that says, I want to sign my name to the end of this day, knowing that my heart was true. Right? I think that's a challenge for all of us. Can I sign my name? We sign our names to a lot of things. Do I want to sign my name to the end of this day, knowing that my heart was true, that I did this day in God's honor? I think it's
I honored the time. Yeah,
right.
That's a lovely phrase. I love
It's
that.
a great phrase. I love it. I would love to get them on someday. No plug intended. All right, let's talk about even the silence is praise. Even silence is praise. I haven't read the book. I haven't had the opportunity to read the book yet. Just had the opportunity to interview, which is a huge honor. Even silence is praise. Wow. In a world that we live in today, there's so much noise. I'm a big Twitter guy. I waste a ton of time on TikTok. I'm not a big Instagram, Facebook. But anyway, we all have our thing, social media. And I haven't even read your book yet, so I don't know what it's about. But I don't find silence in my day. I find silence maybe for the 5 minutes I drive home every day. For some people that commutes a half hour, or the A train. Let's talk about even silence is praise. What is this book about?
Yeah, the thought comes back to my memory of childhood and how my mother would say, listen to me. You can't listen to me. You got to get quiet. And that is sort of my metaphor for what I need to do with God. I have to get quiet. It's funny, I was just digging in my pocket for the old cell phone. I mean, these things, they're a wonder, a marvel, you need them.
Right.
But then there comes a time where you also need to ignore them. Mm-hmm. And so even silence is praise is how can I give myself that necessary time of silence, and how do I do it so that the rest of my day has the meaning, just that script that you want to sign yourself to. But it means not just the noise outside, but the noise inside the head too.
Right. You have 5 bullet points on your website, and I want to walk through those quickly. Even 5 minutes of quiet a day can change the way we live. What do you mean by that?
But if you dedicate some time, and for me, I think it's also not just time, but place. Go back to the same place every day, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 30 minutes. You'll see how you need it. But when it's it's sort of like, when you sit in front of the computer, oh, it's work time, I got to do work. When you sit in that chair, when you sit on that sofa, in fact, I'm sitting on my prayer place. When you sit on that A train, it signals, oh yeah, this is my time. Let's check in.
It's incredible because honestly, as someone so every day, my wife and I do the same routine. I get up, I do my computer time, I do my stuff before I leave the house. I watch the morning, I put the morning news on, I listen to the weather, the whatever happened in my day. My wife goes to, and shout out to my wife because she goes to prayer time. She pulls out her Bible. She reads through the Bible every year. And so she dedicates time to read the scriptures of that day. And to your point, what a difference I think that probably makes for the two of us, and what a contrast that is. I spend my day in the world, and she spends her time with God. What a powerful example she has been, not only for me, but for my children as well. Would you agree?
Oh God, it's wonderful. Yeah. The other thing about it is out there, a big thing out there is meditation, and meditation is a wonderful thing. But I think when you're a person of faith, God's going to come into that. You can't help. And so one of the things people often talk about is like, oh my gosh, the distractions. When I get silent, I get so distracted. And you know what? That's part of the prayer process. Those distractions are your chance to address that.
Right.
They often there's that phrase, catch and release. Well, in a God-centered prayer practice, you're not just releasing it into the air. You're releasing it to God. I can't tell you. I've been doing this for years, but how often when I'm sitting there, I'm focusing on God, and what am I thinking about? The checkbook. Gosh, do we have enough to pay that? Yeah, I think we do. Wait, but did that payment come in yet?
Right.
You know what? If I'm doing that process if it's happening in the presence of God, that's so much more powerful.
Right. Oh, I agree. As someone who's starting their own business, I mean, that's my thoughts. Honestly, I don't sleep well because I worry about those very things. I get up in the morning, I think about those very things. I check spreadsheets when I wake up in the morning. I QuickBooks when I wake up in the morning. And again, so there's my wife who's sitting at the kitchen table, and she's dedicating her day to God, and she's dedicating our kids to God and me to God. She's devoting her time to God, and I'm over here worrying about QuickBooks. And I'll take the bullet and fall flat on my face for the fact that that's how I spend my morning, and she spends it that way. That's what a difference I think that makes in our lives. Because I watch her life, and I'm jealous of how she lives her life because she starts her day the right way, in calm, in peace, in silence, in front of the one who's dedicating. Again, as we said, she can sign her day, she can sign her name to the end of the day, knowing that her heart was true because she started it with him and she lived it with him throughout the day.
Well, and your success, no doubt, also is partly because of her prayers, because I'm
no doubt.
sure you're right there at the top of her list.
Yes, she is. She's amazing. I'd love for you to meet her someday. All right, bullet point 2: acknowledging the mystery of God draws us to know God more. What do you mean?
It's so, oh, God, are you here? Are you there? Where are you? We can get so, but if you open your mind up, and my friend, if it's only 5 minutes, it's still 5 precious minutes, because that connection will be there for the rest of your day. You've established it. You've put the priorities, putting those priorities right. It's so the mystery. It's not like one of those TV series and it's going to get solved at the end, great, and then you can go on. It's better than that because it's episode after episode after episode. Oh, that's how God works in my life.
Right.
And maybe we don't find out the whole mystery, I don't think, until the next life.
Right. Yeah, you're right. I think it's that tapestry when we finally see, right now we just see threads and we see, we just see the sewing on the back, but when we turn that thing around, it's beautiful. One day I think we'll go, there's that aha moment when we realize that's what you were doing. That's what you were
Connecting to
doing.
the golden thread. I mean, just,
Right.
weaving yourself into that.
Yeah. Yeah, gosh, so good. All right. Bullet point 3, God uses our imaginations to speak to us. What do you mean?
Well, I think there I'm talking also about those things that we think of are distractions. Maybe that is also a God power. One of the things I use in my prayer time is images. I'm closing my eyes as I do it because I can't. You see an image or for just sometimes it's just an emptiness. But sometimes what will come to me is almost like a little video in my head. The trees, the wind, God, the Creator is in the creation.
Right.
And so the imagination is one of God's gifts to us, and to be able to use that just in a powerful, restful way.
Right.
Hey everyone, my name is Cami Pranel and I'm the Executive Director for My Unscripted. We hope you are enjoying today's interview. My Unscripted is dedicated to helping others find their voice, passion, and follow their dreams. Our team can help create websites, apps, YouTube channels, podcasts, media, and social content. Whatever your passion and vision, we can help. Our good friend Manny Ahome of Samaritan's Feet once said, "Make sure your dreams and goals are big enough to create room for others to join you." We've created room for you to join us too. Find out more at myunscripted.com. Now let's join Aaron for the second half of today's interview.
What have you found? Because I'm apparently we did the pentagram or whatever it's called.
Enneagram
Enneagram. I don't know, something gram. I'm a number 2. I know I'm an expressor. I'm an empath. I'm all those things. Because there's all those different tests out there. So that's for me. I'm a dreamer by nature. I live with someone that is very understanding of, and thank God, because God brought us together, is the fact that she's grounded. She's, very black and white, and I'm all over the place, as you can tell probably by this very interview. As a friend of mine said, she's the buoy and I'm the sail. Without her, the buoy would just be in place. And because of the sail, I tend to pull her a little direction. But, what would your recommendation be as someone who's written this book? For some, when you're someone like the buoy that's all over the place, you tend to be a dreamer. But at the same time, we need those buoys in our life. We need those people that have structure to keep us kind of grounded. Wouldn't you agree? And as we dream, what's your best recommendation for those of us that are dreamers that tend to run all gas, no brakes, so to speak? What's your recommendation for that?
It's so funny. I'm a 2 too, so it's
There
two
you go.
twos.
It's a perfect interview.
My feeling is that giving myself the structure of the daily silence. That's also energizing myself to follow those dreams. I don't think the dreams are put there for no reason. I think,
Right.
it's don't hide it because it's going to get bigger. In fact, in terms of distractions, if you ignore a distraction, it's only going to get bigger, but you pay attention to it. So you pay attention to that dream. But you've also given yourself tools that will help you prioritize and energize, and maybe, God willing, get a good night's sleep so that
That's right.
you're up. Because it's something I also like doing at the end of the day. Sit up in bed, and actually sitting up helps. Rather, there are prayers that you make when you're lying there in bed, but which is usually help me sleep. But sitting up and just going through and letting stuff go, so that you can have the energy for the dream pursuing you're going to do the next day, my friend.
Yeah. And I don't remember who it was. I wish I could give someone credit, but I do remember someone talking about coming home at the end of the night of a work day, and there was a tree outside, and they would touch the tree. I don't know if you've ever heard that story. They would touch the tree, and they would leave the day on the tree before they went inside. Almost like you're saying, before I go to bed, leaving my dreams, all that, let's leave it by the bedside. Let me just get a good night's sleep, because honestly, that's when we're our best selves, is when we get that good quality night's sleep. For those of us that are dreamers, because I think sometimes when we wake up in the middle of the night, I just told my wife the other day, I need to leave a notepad by the side of the bed to write down the things I think of at 2 a.m. when I wake up. Quiet is it's such a great book, because silence is it's hard to find silence in today's world. It really is.
And I think that's why we have to make it a choice.
Yeah.
It can't be just, God will give us silence. No, God gives us the thinking mind, and those places. Once again, I'm still going back to not just time, but a place. Mm-hmm. Because even if it's a noisy place like a subway train, mm-hmm. Because it's your chosen place for silence, you can find that inner silence.
Wow. Because silence, honestly, I'm just thinking through my day. I don't know, short of me, maybe my commute to work, when I turn off the radio.
Yeah.
If I turn off the radio, I don't have silence anywhere in my day. I don't. Whether it's actual hearing silence or, noise, or my own mind, I just wonder, that for me, I don't know if I ever have silence. I think I'm constantly in motion, and that's the world that we live in.
Well, this is a fear sometimes people have, is that the noise of their mind when they're mm-hmm. silently praying. Oh my gosh, I'm not very good at this because that noise of my mind. In fact, that's part of the gift. Mm. It lets you hear your mind. Mm. And really important, even if it's just 5 minutes, don't get up, don't scroll that note down, don't get up to answer that phone.
Right.
Right. Stay there, because the message will be there, the phone, you can recall that person, the email will be there. But this is just your moment, so that when you respond to it, you'll be focused. So silence is really a choice, because God only knows the world is not giving us silence.
None. Right.
We have to claim it. Claim it. That sounds such a grand word.
I think that's a great statement. I do. I really do. It's a fantastic statement. All right, I have 2 more, but I want to mention that I actually dumped my Apple Watch, and this isn't anything anti-Apple. I had an Apple Watch, and I already have an Apple phone, and they're connected. And honestly, I found that one day I forgot my Apple Watch, and there was so much freedom. And this isn't anything, if you have an Apple Watch and you use it for sports, or you're connecting, for your tracking of whatever it is that it does, awesome. Yeah. I'm not here to argue with you about your Apple phone, or your watch. I found that it was just one more opportunity for me to not be silent. It was an opportunity for me to be distracted. If I was in a meeting, it's vibrating constantly because it's attached to my phone, which is attached to the notification, which is attached to all the different social medias. I just found that, I don't need it. I just don't need it. And so now I can leave and I'm not bragging by any means. I hope, and I think people know my heart. But sometimes I actually forget my phone places. I'm like, oh, that's right. I'm checking my pockets and my coat, and I'm like, oh, I forgot my phone, because I don't have my watch attached to it, which was attached to. And I think it's just, anyway, that's just me. But that's what I found in my personal life. Okay, 2 more bullets. Centering prayer can free us to let go of anxiety and anger. What do you mean?
Well, because so many of those things that you're talking about fuel our anxiety. I've got to answer that. I've got to, and,
right.
Okay, email, text, they're a blessing, but they don't, unless you've really worked hard, they don't prioritize in any way. The buzz is another message, or, the vibrating of the phone, the buzz in the Apple Watch. It's just it's not prioritizing in any way the way life prioritizes. So setting, setting times where your phone will not vibrate, where your watch is not going to call you, because I remember, the thought is that, we can multitask.
No.
I mean, and so, I'm sure you've been in those meetings where somebody's phone vibrates, they pick it up and look at it and pretend they're paying attention to the rest of the meeting. At that point, they have left the room.
Right.
So give yourself these times to leave the room, because anxiety, goodness knows, anxiety, it's interesting. I love the Jesus, the whole parable of the birds in the air, okay, you look up at the birds in the air, they're doing a lot. They're flapping their wings. They're resting. They're doing work. So in some ways, anxiety, there's an element there that helps fuel us, but to keep it prioritized, because the other thing the birds in the air do is they trust.
Right. They don't worry. Right.
They're not flapping their wings the whole time. They're these huge, I love looking, talk about prayer. That's a way to pray. Just look at some birds. That time they're just like, it's like rising on the spirit. Yeah. So it's managing our anxieties and not getting caught up with them. I'm not Mr. Therapist, but this is part of the work that I need to do for myself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. I often, whenever I hear that, they don't worry about their next meal. They don't worry about these things. They're just birds, and they live. And wow, how far we have gotten from that. Whether it's COVID, whether it's whatever, finances, our job, our marriage. There's a million things that we just get so consumed by. And I'm not saying that those aren't important. They're all very important, but the birds of the air, don't worry about it. They're not, because they don't have Apple Watches and Apple phones, and they're not watching the news, and they're not all these things. And that's a whole nother rant for another day. But at the end of the day, they don't worry about it. They're birds, and wow, what a lesson we can learn. And it's right outside our window. It's right outside our window. It's amazing. Okay, last bullet. God speaks to us through our bodies as well as our minds and our hearts. And I think we've touched on this quite a bit, but what do you mean by God speaks to us through our bodies as well as our minds and our hearts?
Well, like when you're sitting there in silence, something, that ache in the back, will be there. And yeah, sometimes it is just an ache in the back, but it also might be an unresolved conflict that you need to address, or connected to that. So I do all I can to listen. And, we're so good at worshiping, I love singing, doing stuff like that, but also get your body into it too, Right. So I think listening to our bodies, listen to the signal. Hey man, it's time to go to sleep.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
This work can wait. It will be there tomorrow. Hey man, the body telling us, I need to listen to my wife, and I need to connect. In our marriage, we started way early in our marriage that we needed to have the half-hour rule. It wasn't because we didn't connect on the oh yeah, did you pay the check? Did you make dinner? All that sort of, but also just to be a little silent so that you could hear some of the other stuff. How you feel. What was that conversation with your mother like?
Right. Right.
So
when you say half-hour rule, what does that look like?
What's that?
When you say half-hour rule, what does that look like? What do you mean half-hour
rule?
Well,
for us, and we fail at this all the time, but it was at least half an hour a day where we're with each other, we're not watching the TV, We're not reading the paper. It's usually over a meal, but we're just present with each other. You know, because otherwise you sort of drift apart.
Right.
And we don't manage it every day, but several days a week, you know. And like I said, it's usually over a meal. Yeah, you're doing stuff together, you're going someplace, but after you sit for a while, it's not just the essentials, the urgencies that come up, some of the deeper stuff. It gives you time to address those and connect. And I think it's the same with the divine. Well, when you're just sitting there, some other stuff will come up.
Wow. So, again, you get 24 hours in a day. You figure 8 of that sleeping. I'm not good at math. It was 16 left in the day. 8 is at our work, so there's 8 left. Half hour with our spouse or significant other or ourself, if we don't have a significant other, and a half hour with God in silence. What does that still leave us? I didn't do quick math. I apologize. I don't have my notepad in front of me. Well, I believe, I don't know off the top of my head, I think that may still leave us 7 hours. 7 hours to watch a ball game, to watch our kids, to, you know, it really is that simple. And again, I'm not preaching. I'm terrible at this, but think about that for a minute. Like literally write down the time in your day. Okay, because for some, I get 7 hours sleep. I don't get 8. So that gives me even another hour. So there's my hour with half hour with God, half hour with my spouse. That gives me the rest of the day to work and to do all the other stuff that I want to do. I mean, think about it. Like I think we get so, I'm so busy. Are you? You know? But I think if we take time to just pause and maybe write down what our day looks like, because we all get the same amount. That's the beauty of it. It's not like somebody's short-sighted and somebody gets more, somebody gets less. We all get 24 hours. Every single day we get the same paycheck of time. How do we spend it?
Yeah, and I think, you know, that spouse time or, you know, that time with your partner, that time with God, both of those are going to help you prioritize the other stuff.
Right.
Oh, you know, that work project, I can leave that for a little bit later. That dream is good, but there's another dream that's bigger that I need to address. No, we really can. It brings some. You know, when you're talking about the tapestry, the threads are all working together. Yeah. Instead of sort of frayed.
Right. Okay. I know our time's limited. What are the best ways that this audience can support you? The book, obviously. So where do we find the book?
The book, the pub date is February 8th. But, you know, of course, it's bookstores, Amazon, any of those places you get books. You can also go to evensilencespraise.com.
Really? Okay.
And there, I don't know when they'll put them up, but there's some videos I made, sort of a 30-day prayer journey, sort of short little videos, a minute and a half, just to kind of help you work on your prayer life, because we're always working at it.
Right. Evensilencesprayer.com.
Evensilencespraise. Evensilencespraise.com.
Evensilencespraise.com. Okay. Evensilencespraise.com. And then February
8th.
February 8th. Gosh, I can't. All right. All right. Evensilencespraise.com is the book site, right?
Yeah, that's the book site, and that's me.
And that's you. And February 8th is the book launch.
Yeah.
Yes. All right. Awesome. Your time has been wonderful.
Thanks, my friend.
Last thing to say before you leave. What's your best advice for someone? Someone's listening to this and they say, I have no time for silence. What's your best advice to find some silence in your life?
Oh, in the most forgiving, generous possible way, I would say, I bet you can make some time.
There you go. All right. Is there any socials that people can find you?
Yeah, rickhamlin.com, and I'm on Even Silence is Praise on social media. I post there, and Rick Hamlin Praise. I'm on Facebook there, and so I'm out there.
Good. Well, don't let it take away from the silence of your day, but please go find my friend Rick and everything we've talked about today. Support him with purchasing the book, reading the book. I'm going to do that myself because honestly, I need to find some silence in my day. As I've said, my bride models this for me, and I need to do a better job. And maybe your book will help. So I'm thankful for you. I'm so thankful for this opportunity. Thank you for taking time out of your day, because I'm sure this ate into your hours of the day, and I'm very thankful for you. I really am. Thank you so much.
Thank you, my friend.
All right, we will talk soon. evensilencespraise.com.
That's
and it. February 8th, we will look forward to the launch. Thank you so much, friends.
Take care.
All right, bye.
Thanks for joining us for another episode of the Unscripted Podcast with your host, Aaron Conrad. Make sure to like, share, follow, and review on your favorite podcast platforms. Also, make sure to check out my song Great and Mighty One on Spotify, iTunes, or wherever you find your music. We'll see you next time on Unscripted with Aaron Conrad.
Mary redeemed a $50,000 cash prize playing Chumba Casino online.
I was only playing for fun, so winning was a dream come true.
Chumba Casino is America's favorite free online social casino. You too could have the chance to win life-changing cash prizes. Absolutely anybody could be like Mary. Be like Mary. Log on to ChumbaCasino.com and play for free now. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus terms and conditions apply. See website for details. The voice in the preceding commercial was not the actual voice of the winner.